Hey guys, welcome to chapter 5. Hope you have watched chapter 4. It was a really long chapter with transistors. Hope you guys were able to understand that. Next component we are going to look at is operational amplifiers. These op amps are one of the most versatile components you'll ever come across. They can be used in a lot of applications. I'll not get into the theory of its construction or how it works, but rather I'll get into the application, and in that application I'll show you how it can be used and how it operates. So there are a lot of applications, as I told you. I'll get into comparators and amplifiers because these two are the most commonly used applications when you're starting off with new circuits or new circuit design. There are many more. I'll show you in the data sheets of all the different applications that a op amp can be used for. Now let's have a look at how an op amp can be used as a comparator. These are the minimum number of pins that an op amp will be required. There are some op amps which can have couple more pins for biasing and different stuff, but these are the minimum number of pins that is required. One is the supply Vs positive and the supply negative. Generally, in most of the applications that used to be you will start building, you will give, for example, a 5 volts here and a 0 volts here. This can be 5 or 12. If you have microcontrollers and digital ICs, you generally be 5 volts or 3.3, and in some purely analog circuits you can use for 12 volts, and these two are the input pins. That is, one of them is positive and one of them is negative, and this is the output. Output will, in when you're using op amp as a comparator, output will be in either two states. One, high, that is your Vs, that is around 5 volts, or it can be low at 0 volt. There is no intermediate state. Either it is 0 or 5. Now, based on the voltages at this positive and negative polarity, the output will be either 0, 0 or 5. Now, let's see how it operates. As the name suggests, it will compare the voltage between these two pins, and then the output will be decided. Now, let's see with an example of how it works. Let me put this to 2.5 volts. Let's assume that this is fixed to 2.5 volts, and this, when we start, will be at 0 volts. So now you should have now see which one is higher. The higher one is positive, so the output will be plus, that is 5 volts. So now let's assume this became 0.5. The output is, the input, a higher point is still the positive terminal, so the output will again be 5. At 2.4 volts, the the input, the higher input is still the positive, it will still be 5 volts. At 2.6 volts, what happens is the voltage is higher in the negative pin, so it will go to 0 volts. So anything greater than 2.6, in this case the output will be low. Anything less than this 2.5 on the negative terminal, the output will be low. So basically it will compare the voltage between the positive and the negative terminal, and it will see which one is the higher one, and the sign corresponding to the higher one will be the output. If plus is higher, the output will be 5 volts. If minus is higher, the output will be 0 volts. So that is the basic operation of a comparator. Now this can be used in a lot of applications, like automatically turning on the lights when it becomes dark, or automatically turning on the fan when the temperature becomes high. So we will these two are the first circuits that we will be building once we have finished all the components. So we will use a comparator at that point. So now I have not told what happens when this both of them are exactly to at the same one. It is a very undefined stage. The output will kind of go high low high low. It is very undefined. To avoid this output becoming high and low, we can slightly modify this comparator as a Smith trigger, and I'll tell you how it can be done. Okay, now let's download a data sheet of one of the op amps, and go through the data sheet once and jump into simulation and see how this operates. As I told you, there are a lot of op amps. So generally I use LM358. So let's open one of the data sheets of that one. Okay, let me select this. Okay, so it will come in different packages. So it is a 8-pin IC. There are two op amps in it. Let me zoom in here. There are two op amps here, one on the left side, one on the right side, and it shares a common supply, that is VCC and ground. Okay, now let's go through some supply voltage limitations of this one. So this will operate from 3 volts to 32 volts. Then if you come again, maximum rating, you exceed any of these, the IC is going to get damaged. Then there is input differential voltage range, means the voltage difference between the positive and the negative terminal should not be negative input terminal, that is V in plus and V in minus should not exceed 32 volts. Input common mode voltage range, what it means is on V in plus or V in minus, the voltage should not exceed this. Then there are normal characteristics. So as and when we go on building applications, you can go through them and you will be able to understand. So this is what we have to pick up from the data sheet. Then if you go down to any particular generally if you go through any data sheet, so they will give typical applications like voltage reference, Weber oscillator, high impedance differential amplifier, comparator with hysteresis. This is what I was talking about. When V in and this V reference are pretty close to each other, the output will start oscillating, going high and low. If you want to avoid this, you can use a hysteresis design. Let's quickly simulate and see how op amp works. Supply, let's give it to 5 volts. Then let me take LM358. Okay, now to the positive one, let me use a voltage divider so that we'll fix it to 2.5 volts. So you can do it to the positive or negative. Let's do it to the positive. From our resistor chapter, we have seen how it can be used as a voltage divider. Let me place ground. So basically, if R1 and R2 are both same, the voltage will be divided by 2. So let me give this to 3, the positive terminal. Now I want the negative terminal to have a varying voltage. So what I'll use is a pot. Again, we had talked about this in one of our earlier chapters. So let me take pot. Let me put it here. Okay. In the output, let me put an LED. Again, you guys know how to design a LED driver circuit. Animated LED. Let me reduce this resistor value to 1k, as the intensity of this LED is going to be really low. Let's see, let's quickly place some voltage probes also. So one let's place here at the positive, one at the negative, one at the output. Okay, let's start the simulation. Okay, now this has 10k 10k, it is divided to 2.5, 2.49. Similarly, now the pot is in the middle position. So now what happens, the positive terminal is at 2.5. Let me zoom in. Okay, the positive is at 2.5 volts and the negative one is 5, 4.4. So the higher one is, which is on the, this is 4.9, that is in the negative. So the output has become low, 0 volts. It will go to the supply Vs, it will go to ground. So the LED is also off. Now let me slowly increase it. Now let me slowly change it. It is 2.9, it is still low because 2.5 is, so 2.9 is higher, negative is higher. So let me come down. So you see at this point 2 volts, the higher one is 2.4, that is connected to the positive. So the output has become high. So at that point you can see it vary. As I told you, using this op amp as a comparator, you can build many circuits like turning on the lights when it is dark, or turning on the fan when the temperature is higher. So in all the circuits, where we are taking the input from a sensor, we have to convert that sensor value to voltage. For example, LDR, that is light dependent resistor. The resistance depends upon the intensity of light. Okay, now as the light intensity changes, the resistance changes. So we will get into LDR in as one of the components when we design a circuit. So here the change of resistance happens when the intensity changes. So that change of resistance can be converted to voltage by using a potential divider. We can use, for example, R2 to be that LDR, and as the LDR voltage changes, this voltage will change. So then we can compare it to this voltage and we can design it in such a way that when the light becomes lower, this output turns on. So from this you can connect a transistor, a relay, and turn on the light. Similarly, if you are for temperature control, instead of R2, you can use a thermistor where resistor is dependent on the resistance is dependent on the temperature. So when the temperature varies, the voltage here varies. You can adjust the voltage at the negative terminal so that at the required temperature, let's say about 35 or 30, you can turn on the fan. So this is the basic operation of a op amp as a comparator. Hope you guys were able to follow this. Now let's look how op amp can be used as an amplifier. This is a typical example for measuring current through a load, and this amplifier configuration is non-inverting amplifier, which is now let's understand how you can measure current which is flowing through the load. So let us consider that there is 10 volt supply, then this is your load. Now let's assume our load is 10 ohm. So what will happen? There will be 1 amps of current flowing through this. Now let's assume that you are building a circuit where you want to show what is the current flowing through it, or you are building an embedded system using a microcontroller where you are going to measure the current and take some action. Now yours generally any of the circuits cannot directly measure current. For example, in a microcontroller you are going to use an ADC, that is an analog to digital converter. This will take input as an voltage. So what we'll have to do, we'll have to somehow convert this current into voltage. So the easiest way to do that is putting a series resistor in this path. So then what you can do is you can take this voltage drop and give it to a microcontroller. Okay, now so we have to select a value of R in such a way that we don't affect the current which is actually flowing through the circuit. Let's assume that I put 10 ohm resistor. Then what happens? The current will become 0.5 because your total resistance has become 10 ohm plus 10 ohm. So your current will become 0.5 amps. You don't want this to happen. But if this happens, then what you're actually changing the characteristics of the circuit. So you would want to go low, like 1 ohm or zero point 0.1 ohm. If you put 1 ohm here, the current will drop from 1 amps to 0.9 amps. So that will also affect the performance of this. So using 1 ohm, the current is getting reduced. If you're okay with the current, you can use this. So or else what we can do is we can go with a 0.1 ohm resistance. If you put a 0.1 ohm resistance here, then because of this resistance, this current is not going to change much. That is one advantage. Second one is the higher resistance you put here, I square R losses in this resistance will be higher. So it is always better to use a lower resistance. One, because you are not going to affect the current which the load is going to draw. Two, your I square R losses will be less. So we should always use a lower value of resistance. So how low should you go? So you should not go very low, because if you go very low, then you will have to amplify it a lot, and during amplification there will be a little bit of noise. So that noise will affect your amplification. Second, the availability of this resistor. So you will not be able to get like 0.001 ohm resistance. So it is better to go with 0.1 or 1 ohms. So let's assume if this resistance is a 100 ohm resistor, your load is 100 ohms, then you can go with a 1 ohm resistor. So in our case the resistance is 10 ohm. So I will go with a 0.1 ohm resistance for sensing. Okay, let me clear this off. Now let's consider our supply voltage is 10 volt. My load is 10 ohm. So my current will be 1 amps. So I will use a 0.1 ohm resistor in this application. So this is a non-inverting amplifier. V out is 1 plus R2 divided by R1 into V sense. V sense is what I have here. So once I measure V out, and if I know R1 and R2, I can calculate what is V sense. Once I know V sense, I sense will be V sense by Rs, that is a R sense. So I can calculate what is I sense, what is the current flowing through the circuit. Sorry, this is not I sense, this is the current flowing through the circuit. In this case 1 amps. I forgot to tell you why you need an amplifier. So let's assume in this case, so when 1 amps is flowing, the voltage drop is 0.1 volts. Let's assume that your current maximum is 1 amps and it will vary from 0 to 1 amps. Okay, so your sense voltage V sense will vary from 0 volt to 0.1 volt. So if your sensing circuit or the microcontroller ADC can pick up this from 0 volts to 0.1 volts with good enough resolution, then you don't need an amplifier. But generally what happens, a microcontroller ADC will be designed to take a scale from sense from 0 volts to either 2.4, 2.5, sorry, or 3.3 or 5. So this 0 to 0.5 is way off the scale of 0 to 2.5 volts. So you will not get that good resolution. So it is always better to convert this 0.5 volts 0.1 to 2.4. If your Vsense is 0.1 volts, you would want to amplify it to, let's say, 2.5 volts. So you will be, the resolution will vary from 0 to 2.4 in a microcontroller, 0 to 2.5. So you will be able to use a full resolution of the microcontroller. Now let's simulate the amplifier. Let's have a 10 volt supply. Load. Sense resistor. This the 10 ohm resistor. This is a 0.1 ohm resistor. Let's quickly simulate this. Let me put a voltage probes. Let's have one here. And one here. So this is 10 volts at 0.09, 0.1 volts is what we have to amplify. Let me rig up the amplifier circuit. Now let's just check what should be the R2 and R1 value. So basically I have to convert this 0.1 volt to 2.5 volts. That is my aim. So I have to select R2 and R1 such that when I have 0.1 volts here, I get 2.5 volts there. Let me clear this. So here I need 2.5 volts V out when Vsense is 0.1 volt. So now what should be this R2 and R1 values? So let's fix up one of these values. I'd assume that R1 I'm going to put 10k. Okay, now I have to find R2. Let me just solve this equation. So if you solve this equation, you will see that you will need 240k of R2 and R1 is 10k. Let's use this values. Let's place R1 and R2 as R1, R2, to 40k. Let me give this supply to ground, this to the 12 volt supply. Let me put a voltage probe. Let's start the simulation. When you had like close to 0.1, let me get this zoom right. See, you have like 0.09 volt or 0.1, you are getting 2.5. Basically, you are amplifying this. Now, this point you can give it to a microcontroller or your sensing circuit and use this voltage to find out what is the current here. So when the current is varying from 0 to 1 amps, let's check out the current also. Let me put a current probe. Yeah, the current is close to 1 amps. When you have 1 amps here, you are going to get 2.5 volts here. So when the load varies from 0, when the load current varies from 0 to 1 amps, you are going to get 0 to 2.5 here. This you can use it in your embedded circuit or your analog circuit to find out what is the current flowing through the load using a sense resistor, which is pretty low. So this is a example for an amplifier. Again, just to recap, to measure the load, we will use a very small value of resistance, in this case 0.1. You have to select the value of resistance low enough that you are not going to affect the load characteristics, and not too low that you will not be able to get it, or you are going too low so that the amplification error will come into this. So it is a fine balance which you have to select. This is using op amp as an amplifier.